So, all right, for those of you who didn't listen last time, or for those of you in the future who just grabbed this one out of a whole slew of them, how are you? Was there a nuclear holocaust? Well, great. You survived it. Are you in your bunker? How many more cans of beans can you eat, you cunt? What's it like living in a world without ESPN? Da-da-da, boo-doo-boop. Oh, you know what? If you're actually in a bunker right now in the future and you're listening to me, I should probably be a little more positive, right? Okay, just what makes that little old ant think he can survive a meltdown from a nuclear plant? Everyone knows he's got sores all over his fucking face because he went outside. He didn't stay underground. That's why you'll be in that. What do they usually bury? That's those things what they stick all the drugs in that sit on the wharfs. And they stick them on the back of trucks, freight fucking things. I don't know. Whatever they dealt with during the second season of The Wire. You know what that just reminded me of? I don't know why. Everybody freaking out about that fucking missile that the Navy shot off. You know, this is the beginning of World War III. Well, great. Great. And then you know what? We're all going to be dead. So what are you fucking worried about? You know what I mean? I would be much more worried if somebody released one Cobra into the fucking Los Angeles area, and I knew that it was somewhere in the hills where I hiked. If there was one Cobra there, I would be way more fucking nervous. Like if they said right now, we have a special news flash, China has just shot a bunch of nuclear weapons. They will be here in 6 minutes, so get your affairs in order. I would go over to the fridge, and I'd get out a pint of ice cream, and I'd sit there, you know? You know, like a little kid sits in a big chair and he kicks his legs up and down like a scissor? That's what I would do. Oh boy, I'm going to get vaporized. I'm getting what everybody wants, a painless death. That's what you're looking at when you see the nuclear weapons. What you're looking at is a painless death. I'm all about them. I love the warheads. I'm a big warhead fan. You know, I like that we're puffing each other's chests up. You know what I mean? China's, you know, we're like, why I oughta? You know, and China's like, why we oughta? And then Korea's like, hey, what about us? We still count, right? I don't give a fuck. I really don't. You know, I'm a grizzled vet of this shit. I grew up in the tail end of the Cold War. I remember that shit, right? Everybody says they're going to do it, and then they never do. Okay? Until they do. And when they do, you're not going to know it because it's going to be over. At least I won't know it. That's one of the great things about being in a targeted city. You're going to have no idea that World War III even happened. You're just going to wake up, you know, wherever the fuck you go. Or maybe you just become part of the radiation, you know, that the next people are going to climb out of. I told you guys that that's my theory, right? That water is the nuclear waste from the last people that fucked up this planet, you know? And we're actually these fucking mutants. We're actually ugly as shit. We just don't know any better because we're attracted to what we see because we're all fucking arrogant, right? We got the ego. You look at me. My ego came out in fucking first 6 minutes. You don't know who I am? Well, then I could say I'm Elvis and everyone would believe it. No, Bill, they wouldn't. You fucking dope. Yeah, so I don't know what the big deal is. And it was also funny to read that and listen to say that they were saying everybody in California was freaking out. And then I call my wife and she doesn't even bring it up. Probably didn't even know it happened. Because at this point, nobody really watches the news anymore. Remember the news used to come on? Fuck, everybody watched the fucking news. You had your guy. Who do you like? And it was all men, right? Because men tell you what's going on in the world, despite what these ladies think. You know what I mean? That's why I stopped watching the news. The second I saw a woman news anchor, I was like, this broad doesn't know what she's talking about. She does. She only got half the information because whoever was telling it to her was probably thinking about fucking her, and he left out half the information. Okay? That's the problem with female news anchors, and I've been saying it for years. And you can hide behind your sexist, he's a sexist comment. All right? There's not an ounce of comedy in this right now. I'm just trying to give bloggers an easy week. I am dead serious. You know, I don't even know. Does Connie Chung still do it? You know what's funny was Connie Chung did the Real News, and then her husband was doing that. What was that fucking show? Was it Hard Copy? And he had that sound like a fucking match. What's that thing behind the door stopper? Remember that thing you played with before there was the internet? And you just sit there for hours going... That's a hard noise to imitate. You just sit there fucking with that, right? He was on a show that was the sound effect as they went into every story. And Connie, right, was actually talking about real shit that was, well, at least, you know, the edited real shit, our version of the real shit that was going on. You know? I would have loved them sitting there as they both talked about, you know, the news stories that they were excited about. You know, she was reporting about the Berlin Wall coming down, and he was talking about to some paper boy who fucked the postman's wife. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess I just find relationships interesting.